How did that injury make you feel?
So one thing that I was thinking of is so he had it was ACL, right? That kept him out for a while. It's the same leg.
No, it's a different.
Okay, it's different. But still, I think these type of injuries, especially when you're over 30, it's not as bad because I feel like what 20, 30 years ago, if you had two of these injuries, your career was done. And you've seen people come back from Achilles. But the lingering issues are not going to go away from him. I just don't think that's true. And both of his legs are more prone to injury now that his ACL and then his other Achilles are weaker. So I think he's going to be more injury prone, and I don't think he'll be able to get back to his former self of being probably just like one of the best, if not the best, 3-and-D guy in the league. I mean, you remember the game 6 in 2016 against the Thunder where he exploded for over 40. He was killing it from the 3-point line. He's had other games where he's just been a flamethrower from the 3-point line.
Right, in big games too. Like Game 6 Klay is so real.
Yes. So I think they did pivot well with Oubre, and he's definitely not as good as Klay, don't get me wrong, but he's someone who can do some of the similar things that Klay does, shoot the ball pretty well. I don't think Oubre is as good on defense as Klay was, but
Theoretically,
he has the potential to be. He's tall, he's pretty athletic, but yeah, I think they pivoted well, and I'm just sad to see it because I really like Klay too. He's very entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I totally agree. That basically is the exact same way I feel about it. It really sucks, but I'm really interested to see Steph Curry without Klay Thompson,
Mm-hmm.
without Kevin Durant. I think it'll bring the best out of him. We'll get to see like really, really. I think it's a chance for him to really cement his legacy even higher. Because
Mm-hmm.
some people hold the not having Finals MVPs against him. I think everyone agrees at this point he's a top 20 player of all time. But we'll get to see really where he is in there because all those other guys have had to carry teams to the playoffs, with lesser rosters. And I think he's certainly capable of it. And we'll see if he'll do it. So let's just real quick just cover the Joe Burrow injury because that was brutal too.
Yeah.
That
So
was really tough to watch. For me
yeah,
personally, I'll just my 2 cents on it real quick. It's tough. The Bengals really to me had found something. I hope he comes back and returns. It's similar to what Carson Palmer had, if you remember that one playoff game where first time him and Chad made the playoffs, Chad got injured and Carson Palmer got injured
very
with
sad.
a short span. I hope he comes back. He looked like a star. He's so tough. He's so gritty. He's just a guy you want to root for, and I hope that he comes back.
And one thing that came out of that, so they just thought it was only ACL. It was ACL, MCL, and more structural damage. So that is going to make his recovery even more difficult. And that frustrates me because one thing I think the problem is their O-line was just letting him get killed back there. You saw the pocket collapsed on both the left and right tackle. Both of those sides. That's how he got injured, is because when he got hit, his knee just got caught in the middle of two O linemen and D linemen being there. So I think the Bengals, I mean, we've harped on this. The Bengals should have invested more capital in getting him O line help. But yeah, I'm worried because of
the play calling too.
Yeah.
Go ahead, finish. Sorry.
Yeah, the structural damage worries me because if it's only ACL, I feel like nowadays, especially the top tier athletes, they've been coming back from that like not that much worse. I mean, even AP, you remember he had one of his best seasons after ACL injury. So it's not as much of a death sentence as it was, but the structural damage really worries me.
Yeah, I basically agree. And with the Bengals, I'll say this, like maybe they should have invested more, but more than that, I think the biggest problem is that you had this star young quarterback and you never protected him by having any semblance of a run game. You were dropping him back like he was a prime Peyton Manning every single play and basically saying, go win the game for us. And I mean, with no protection, it seemed like he was set up to get hurt. A lot of people said he was going to get hurt, and unfortunately, he got hurt this series. I hope he comes back because I really like Joe Burrow.
We even talked about how it's kind of reminiscent of Andrew Luck in his career and how
that was your point. You brought it up.
Yeah, how he was kind of in a pretty similar situation behind a bad O-line getting killed every time he dropped back. They didn't have a run game much. And right when he leaves, of course, their O-line is just like one of the best in the league. But yeah, that's sad to see.